Hello, everyone, and welcome to Blood and Popcorn. It's Friday night, and you know what that means. It's time to watch a horror movie. It's time to hang out with our friends, and it is time tonight to talk about the one, the only, Nicolas Cage in his latest masterpiece, Willy's Wonderland. Denise, Glenn, how are you this evening? We just got done watching what could best be described as a 90-minute acid trip. What do you guys, how you guys feeling tonight? It's Friday night. The 29ers are in attendance. Denise looks like Nick Cage in about 15 movies. How we feeling tonight, gang?
Great. I'm feeling great.
Denise Cage, how are you feeling?
I see what we're doing here.
Already thematic to the film, which stars the great Nicolas Cage as he attempts to fight off hordes of possessed animatronic fuzzies, akin to what you might see at a Chuck E. Cheese in the 90s or 80s, or if you were from northeastern Pennsylvania, Zach Periwinkles, who replaced Chuck E. Cheese because rats. You know, no one wanted a rat in the house, so they put a panda in there instead. Vicious creatures, the panda. Denise, Glenn, we just got done. Like, it's Friday night. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling on fire. I feel like Nicolas Cage in every movie he's ever been in. I even wore a top hat because why not? When you're talking about Nicolas Cage, all the fucking rules are out the window. They're all gone. There's no more rules. We're not playing by anybody's rules here. Mm-hmm. Denise, what are your thoughts on the subject?
I'm kidding. I'm not going to do it the whole time. I was going to see how long I could do it, but now let's go for it. You know, I quite enjoyed it. It was weird in the best ways. You know, there were some things. We got a bone to pick with some people here, but overall, it was interesting.
Glenn, what about you? What were your initial thoughts on old Willy and his Wonderland of horrors?
Yeah, this was a movie I was wanting to see as soon as I heard about it. I'm usually sold when Nick Cage is in a horror movie, especially if it's one where they say it's going to be an acid trip or it looks like it's about to be. And it definitely lived up to that, which he's been doing a lot of these recently.
Yep.
Colorful, weird, what in the fuck is this horror movies?
It's like a whole Nick Cage resurgence.
Oh, Epic
I'm
coming
all
in
for
hot.
it.
Starting things off right. Epic, thank you
Damn,
for the
Epic.
5 gift subs.
Dang,
Thank you.
that
Happy
deserves
Friday.
That crack of the old DP.
The old Dr. Pepper.
Subscription.
That's what I'm drinking too.
Unofficial sponsor of Blood and Popcorn. Yeah, me too.
It comes in bottles and what looks like cream soda.
Draft.
Yeah. You don't have to lie. This is an adult show.
That's
Not
right.
an adult show.
We might be consuming adult beverages. You don't know. You'll never know. Man, oh man. So we decided to do this movie here. Basically, we came up with the option last week because we were trying to figure out how do we go about deciding the 4th movie of the month. Because, you know, we went through, just to recap, we kicked things off at the premiere. We did the first 5 Leprechaun movies in our mega premiere. And then we went to...
One, but whatever.
Yeah.
Because of the Leprechaun thing. But I'm sorry. I digress.
It's okay. It's okay, Denise. We all make mistakes. And then it was my turn to pick next, and I picked TerrorVision. And then Glenn picked House, the Houseu. And Denise picked Halloween, the John Carpenter's Halloween. And we needed to come up with a solution for us to decide as a group. And ultimately what we landed on is, let's make this movie something that none of us have ever seen. Which, you know, if you've been watching along thus far, you know is not a lot. So between the 3 of us,
stuff.
Yeah, we dug in after last week's episode, and we dug deep. And we pulled out.
It took us a while to get to this.
We did. We just thought there were so many options. There's more movies we're going to do on this show than we have episodes to do it in. So it's going to be pretty wild.
That's true.
Also, can I just say, when you have a mustache, Your upper lip disappears.
Yeah, you're more mustache than
Yes.
man now.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just go over my ensemble real quick?
Please, Denise, you look
Sure.
fabulous. Please tell us about it.
So you know, if you know me, I like to try and theme things, food, dress. I'm really all about it.
Yes.
And today, I wanted to celebrate Nick Cage in a number of ways. It matches my hair, but it's very much like his mustache in Willy's Wonderland. And this is also a little callback to a small film called Raising Arizona.
Classic.
It's very Nick Cage in this, although obviously it matches my hair, not his.
I love the continuity, though, Denise. I love your commitment.
Thank you. I almost did the whole beard, but I was like, no, it's okay. We'll just step back a little bit because sometimes less is more. I am wearing a white tank top undershirt, also known as other things, but I'm going to call it a white tank top. And this is a little nod to Con Air, the fabulous Nick Cage movie Con Air.
About
Fabulous.
convicts on a plane. Long before Sam Jackson was kicking snakes off a plane, Nick Cage was kicking convicts off a plane.
Steve Buscemi is in
What a
that.
legend.
He's so great. So great. Scary. And this is my version of a mullet because I can't I'm not going to cut my hair.
You weren't
So I've got
committed enough. You weren't gonna shave the
business up
sides.
top. Listen, don't challenge my commitment. And then, it's like, it's a little wavy. I didn't like fix it up because Nick Cage didn't flat iron his hair in Con Air.
So
And
No,
here
he
we
didn't.
are. Yeah. And then this is like a teensy little bit, like it's a denim jacket. It kind of matches his pants in Con Air, his jeans. And did he wear jeans or did he wear khakis? I thought it was jeans.
I want to say
Either way.
jeans. It feels like a jeans character.
Right?
It does.
His Wranglers, his
also-
slim cut Wranglers.
He also dons a jean jacket, not this color, this is what I had, in National Treasure when they have to go buy clothes to change after they are in their tuxedo and evening gown.
Denise, I didn't know you were such a Cage-asseur.
I mean, I didn't realize it
term.
until it happened. You know what I mean?
Cage-asseur. Let's get it trending, guys.
Cageosaurus. I didn't know, but it was in me all the time, the whole time.
That's right. Nicolas Cage, I feel, is in all of us all of the time at some point. But
For
in
sure.
this movie, it feels more than not. Glenn, there was a lot of nice stuff going on here. I think for once I liked it a lot and had very few complaints. Where
It's
interesting.
where
interesting.
just because I like, this movie to me felt like it knew what it was. It wasn't afraid of what it was, and it was going to go full throttle throughout. How do you feel overall it did in accomplishing that goal? Because it felt to me like a very specific movie, but also a movie where someone basically said, what would be a good movie is Five Nights at Freddy's, but throw the story out. Like, we'll just not use the story. Like Steve in the back, what do you got? And he's like, I don't know, some kids. Yeah, could they be hyper diverse? Yeah, absolutely. Does that make any sense? Not in this town, but whatever. And then like you start meeting all these weird towny characters, and it's like the whole movie felt to me, and again, I gave this really high scores. The whole movie felt to me like someone wanted to make a Five Nights at Freddy's movie, couldn't get the rights, so just had the idea, stuffed it in the box, and then built whatever story they could around it.
Okay, for those who don't know what Five Nights at Freddy is, can you tell them?
Oh, it's a horror game.
I don't know.
I think it's like similar to this movie. Like you're spending the night in like a Chuck E. Cheese-esque place, and shit's coming to life.
How have I not played this yet?
I don't know.
You should.
It's been recommended to you by several of the audience members, as I recall.
Why didn't you remind me?
I'm so sorry. I'll show myself
TJ.
out. I've been TJ Rotell. It's great to see everybody. Good night.
Okay, my question to you is, are you more of a film connoisseur than you thought? I think that's where we're going here. I think you are a technical film connoisseur, and you didn't realize it until now.
Well,
Because you're like, there were cool shots and this and that, blah blah blah, and you like gave the other stuff such low scores. It's fascinating.
Well, it's like Glenn's usually that guy, right? Because he knows way more about this stuff than I do, right? I just spend the money. That's what
But
that's my primary.
you like what
objective.
you like.
I do. I like what I like. And there was something about this movie that felt like, I don't know, it was very frenetic and it was very weird and it had a lot of really weird moments. But I was like, there's something about a director and a team not sacrificing creative vision.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I agree 100%. I think there could have been a lot less of the crazy, weird camera and cut stuff. But damn if I wasn't impressed that they leaned into it, because they leaned into it like by a lot.
Did. Yeah, they did for sure.
They did. They did. Let's dive into a little trivia here.
Yeah,
Ooh,
let's do that. Denise, can you tell us a
movie.
bit about the movie Willy's Wonderland?
It's a documentary.
It is a documentary.
I sure as Abraham can try.
Very cinema verite.
Sure as Abraham can try. Points to anyone who can get where that quote comes from. I'll sure as Abraham try.
Is that from the Bible?
It's from one of the Bibbles.
So,
but it was also in a movie. About,
okay, good.
Some Bibbles.
Interesting. The movie name changed from Wally's Wonderland to Willy's Wonderland. Thank God, because I had called it Wally's Wonderland and I spelled Nicolas Cage's name wrong. There is no H. It's Nicolas.
And you're out there representing
in a tweet
blood
earlier
and
this week.
popcorn.
So
what a nightmare.
I apologize.
What a nightmare.
I apologize to all of our fans. I apologize to Nicolas Cage and the makers of the movie.
We'll have to bring Nick on to
But
get the apology face to face.
To be fair,
Make
the
these
name was
calls.
Wally's Wonderland at some point. Now, if you haven't seen it, there will probably be some spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
I'm going to try to run. It's very satisfying.
Should we do that
to run
every
my
time?
fingers
Because
through my mustache.
Don't we spoil
listen,
every movie?
Always.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, it's the point of
But
the show.
I'm going to actually try to talk about it without spoiling a whole lot. That's my goal.
That's fair.
But in general, so once you watch it, if you watch it, you will learn Nicolas Cage and no speaking. It's not going to take you long to figure that out. And apparently he was intrigued by the idea of making a movie without any speaking lines, which I've got to say, as an actor, that's probably like, fuck yeah, let's do it. I'm just going to fight demonic animatronic characters and pop and fucking like have no lines to remember. Hell yeah. I mean, listen, there's fight choreography and stuff like that, but what?
Can you imagine being like, because I wonder if that character never had lines. I wonder if that character didn't have a bunch of lines, but then Nicolas Cage came in and said, the only way I'm doing this movie is if I don't have a line in the movie. But it's Nicolas Cage, so you're intrigued. You're initially intrigued. You're scared. As a producer or an EP, your heart is pounding out of your chest because you're like, we need Nicolas Cage to get this movie made. But now he's demanding not to have any dialogue. But he's going to do all these crazy fight stuffs because he's a martial artist. What do we do? And they had a big meeting, in a conference room somewhere in some small studio in the valley.
Is he a martial artist?
Oh yeah, big time. And they decided, yes, we're going to move forward. Nick doesn't have any dialogue in the movie, and he's demanded several pinball scenes and a dance break.
Okay.
And everyone's just like, yep, that's what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
you still haven't gotten the rights to Five Nights at Freddy's? No?
Maybe.
Okay, yep, then that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
It actually says in the trivia, despite similarities, it's not a Five Nights at Freddy's adaptation.
Of course it's not. No, but it's definitely a little bit of a wink and a point.
Definitely no one played it on the writing crew or cast.
Not at all. Never.
But apparently he is a fan of silent horror movies, so that is part of what intrigued Mr. And TJ didn't realize this until recently, but Nicolas Cage is part of Hollywood royalty, if you did not know.
He definitely is.
He is a Coppola.
That's right. Coppola.
And changed his name very, very early on because he wanted to try and
make it himself,
which he did.
He did.
And he's always made very interesting character choices. or has gravitated towards very interesting characters. I mean, if you've never seen Valley Girl, you should watch Valley Girl. He's like this really weird, like other
Valley
side of
Girl?
the tracks. No, he's the guy who dates the Valley Girl, but good guess. But he's like other side of the tracks, and he's also like a little wacky. But there's something, as you can tell all the way up to this day, there's something just mesmerizing about the guy. Like he is a very talented performer.
He's not
He
only
has an Oscar.
talented. Yeah, well, he does. For what movie?
He does.
Leaving Las Vegas.
Oh, that makes sense. What I'll
Leaving
say
Las
about
Vegas,
Nicolas Cage.
It's a horror movie in a different sense.
What I'll say about Nicolas Cage is that as an actor and as a performer, and I would argue probably as a human, the dude is fearless. Like, I mean, he just like fucking his last slew of genre movies like Color Out of Space and Mandy and now this like Mom and Dad, like he just commits to like to the moment, like to that character, and like love him or hate him, you gotta you gotta respect the commitment that the dude gives to every role, and it doesn't matter how zany or crazy it is. You know, at this point, I don't know if these people are writing these movies for him because he's so good in them.
That dance scene at the pinball machine.
Oh my God.
That was improv. He improv'd that whole thing.
That makes sense.
Amazing. Classic Nick Cage move. Classic
and it's funny
Cage.
because as we were like watching all of these very interesting, very specific choices for this character, I'm like, they're never going to explain this, are they? Like, we are going to be left wondering, what is his fascination with, what was it? Punch Pop? What was it called? The soda?
It was like art department's version of Jolt.
Yes.
Jolt.
Punch. And the text on the can is a fistful of caffeine for your kisser.
And that's what he doled out every fight scene. The dude was like Popeye.
Running
through those soda cans, giving him strength.
Oh, I didn't even put that together. Oh, it was like Popeye.
Yeah.
That's what I was. I'm like, is he getting some of this like energy from the can? Would you like that in the can? No, I'll have it right here. Does anybody know what that's?
Kisser. Oh, there's a cat.
Quote. Yes.
Someone's yelling in the back.
Demanding cat.
You know what that means.
What does that mean?
Take a drink.
I guess. Yeah, Estonia night. When are we getting the drinking rules that you're making? Man, we gotta see what the rules are here.
No. I got
for
bit.
the project. You got bit.
You like dropped a few last time and I didn't understand what they were.
That's true. Well, you know, while we're on the subject of cats meowing in the background, don't forget, everybody, we do have chat commands are hot and live right now. You can learn about Channel 29 and where to follow us on the socials. And we have a Spotify that we've been putting together with cast members from the shows. We got a fun little Discord community going on. Everybody chatting it up. It's a good time. And for shows specifically, here they are. They're all down below. It's all underneath down here. Just check it out. Throw them in chat. See what they do.
Just check it out.
Spotify.
Yeah, I need 2 songs from each of you.
Yes, it's on my list of to-dos.
Sure it is, Denise.
Will do.
Wait, is that?
But we're doing something else tonight. That's pretty special. We've officially submitted our emotes to Twitch for approval. I hope they get approved. There's a couple in there that involve a little of the red stuff, a little bit of the old life essence, a little bit of the vitae. But they're not, I don't personally think it would be considered gratuitous, but we'll see what the people at Twitch say when they decide. They are going to decide, and if they decide no, we'll have to take the blood out. But really excited that process has begun. I don't know how long it's going to take, but tonight we are going to show you a preview of all the channel emotes that are coming if they get approved to Channel 20.
Yeah,
we're going to be doing that a little later in the episode, and that's Matt Olson who did those for us at Flying Stylus on the Twitters. Go check him out.
So good.
Everything. It's phenomenal.
But
back to the show here now that we've had our commercial break. So, this is something obviously none of us have ever seen, which, like I said earlier, is a pretty rare treat. Do either of you have any regrets on choosing this movie? Just like high level, or was this something you enjoyed? What are your thoughts overall? Like high level thoughts on the movie?
In all of my 10 years of watching movies, because I'm 15, I can only name 3 movies that I won't name that I regret seeing.
Oh wow.
So I never regret seeing any movie ever.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well,
every movie has what?
Well, I was gonna say if you regret 3 movies, we're gonna have to like a triple feature one night about like Glenn's regret movies or something.
Oh my gosh! Yikes!
No, I'll miss that one.
Guest host that week. So what were you saying? What were you saying, Glenn? You feel that all movies have a place.
All movies have a place. All movies have something redeeming about them or entertaining, which is ultimately what, in my opinion, movies are about: entertainment or enlightenment sometimes.
Right.
I think all movies do, and that's probably not fair about the 3 that I don't like, but I really don't like those movies. So no, absolutely not. Didn't regret this at all.
I think we should at one point at least do like if we had to dig deep and each come up with one movie we truly didn't like. I wonder what those would be. You know, because I have a hard time coming up with one. Because like Glenn, like you said, I agree too. I think every horror movie's got a place in the timeline. You know, because they all serve a purpose. You know, it's not just about the entertainment value. Some of them are culturally impactful. Some of them are cinematically impactful. Some broke down barriers and boundaries. And, you know, some of them weren't the best at doing it, but, you know, they're there. They're a part of the history. And that's what's so great about the genre is that it has all of these touchstones throughout its very, you know, really short-lived career. If you look at the grand scope of storytelling, you know, so it's you know, I think this one does belong in this place. And again, like I really liked it, but I have a lot of I do have a lot of story and acting issues with this movie.
For sure. I mean, I'll also throw out the caveat of like there are horror movies and normal movies that I really, really liked, but maybe we'll never see again because I don't want to see them again.
Yeah.
Yeah, no regrets for me on watching this at all. I enjoyed it. There was a lot that I enjoyed about it. It was interesting. I saw somebody said something about the Banana Splits movie, which yes, I'm definitely gonna watch at some point. Holy crap.
That's in the watch list on Amazon already.
Is it? Oh my gosh, amazing.
Oh yeah.
We'll get into it shortly, but yeah, there's a lot that I liked about it and that I appreciated about it. So there's zero regret here. I don't want my time back or anything like that, which is great.
No.
Mm-hmm. Could both of you, do you think both of you would be able to pull out like a top 3 moments from the movie for you? Do you think that's on the spot? Yeah. Do you think you can come up? Let's try that, Glenn. What were your top 3 moments?
Oh, I have to go first? Fuck.
From the okay. I see.
No, I'll do it.
Come on, from the hip.
I have a feeling like we're going to overlap here.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, again, like this movie is all about the kills. Like it's not about the story because there isn't. Really, sorry. I liked it a lot, but it's not really a story movie. It's not a curb, but it's a urinal stomp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was something.
It is a thing. It's a thing, and it was well done. I'm not being as quick about this as I wanted to be.
Well, Denise, throw one out.
Okay.
It's a little simple, a little basic, but the slow-mo confetti shot. I love
that. Is good.
I love that. I love slow-mo confetti shots. We did one for one of the shows we did for Zach and Mia. I'm a big fan of that. Fun.
Slow-mo anything is so good. Everything's beautiful in slow-mo.
It really is. The Um, honestly, so many of the kills were pretty great for me. I like that they were different and very inventive. So since you went with that one, Glenn, I'll go with the alligator one.
Yeah.
Solid.
That was great. And then I think anytime he's killed something, it just changes just like Estonian Night gets back to cleaning. Like I I love that consistency,
Yeah.
whatever the reason was for that character, which we will never know.
Yeah. Solid
true.
3, D. Glenn, you got another 2 to throw into the hat?
Yeah. When he throws the knife to the girl, and it was just like, fucking do it.
Breaks are important.
I mean, that isn't a kill, so I broke my own rule there. I hate to go back to the killings again, but like when he snaps I think it was a broom or a mop in half and makes 2 sticks out of it, and like did like some sort of martial art. I think it's Cali from the Philippines or some sort of dual stick martial art where he just like a fury of death with sticks in hand. It was, I was like, oh, I understand what we're doing here in this movie.
Yeah.
This is great.
I get it.
This is Mortal Kombat with Nicolas Cage fighting animatronic monsters.
But who doesn't talk shit?
Yeah.
He talks shit through his eyes.
It's the exact opposite of the one-liner. It's the no-liner.
It's the no-liner.
Yeah.
Glenn, did you do 3? I can't remember.
Yes, your turn.
Mine are all very unique and all very different moments in the movie, but I'm going to list them in rapid succession. Pinball dance, and fucking pinball dance. That shit was magical, and it's the only one I'm giving credit to. It was
amazing.
It was fantastic.
It was magical. I didn't want to take that one because I knew you were gonna.
Yeah.
You can sense
y'all.
it.
I would just need you to know this came in a pack of like 40 or 50 mustaches from Amazon. I bought it 2 years ago, and this thing's sticking. Let me just let you know this is legit.
I hope it comes off later.
It will.
I hope
you have a pack of lip rugs somewhere in here.
Oh, the old lip rugs.
I mean, not somewhere. It's like they're like behind me. Yeah, of course I do. Have you seen my Twitch profile picture? I'm wearing the fancy mustache.
What's Twitch?
Clearly.
Oh boy. TJ, can you see him out, please?
I'll see him in the next episode. That's what I'm saying. That's right. I got some blood and popcorn themed sunglasses. Little red and yellow for the fans.
Oh, is that what you've done?
For the kids at home. That's right. I've done it. Listen, well, I think, should we just dive right in?
Let's just do it.
I feel like we're all kind of itching to talk about the movie more, and I think there's no better way to do that than by filling up our popcorn buckets. But before we do, as promised, it's time for some emote.
Let's give a shout out to our sponsor.
Our sponsor, yeah. Nicolas Cage. So we've got some really cool emotes that, like I said, Matt Olson did. Matt Olson also did the blood and popcorn art that you can see here.
Yeah, he did.
Just a really phenomenal and talented guy, and just like he did the relics and rarities art. Which
was fine.
Yes, okay. But yeah, what a great dude, and I don't even know how to. I'm so excited about these. I really hope they all get cleared.
No shit.
But for our tier 1 subscriptions, what we're going to do, we're going to show you all of them, and then we're going to get a little bit of a closer look. So for our tier 1 subscriptions, are you guys ready? Is everyone ready?
I'm not, but do it.
Bam! There we go. Tier 1 subscriptions. We've got the 29ers logo. We've got a hook to represent Dead by Daylight. We've got our Nintendo cartridge to represent bonus round. Our cursed voodoo doll for this show is cursed. And of course, our little blood kernel of popcorn for blood and popcorn.
If Twitch is listening, a hook with strawberry jam.
A hook with strawberry jam and popcorn covered in ketchup. I mean, listen, that might not be bad. Like a ketchup flavoring might be okay.
I'd try that.
I would try that. I would try that. Let's take a closer look. First up, we've got the 29ers logo as named by our dear friend and supporter of the channel, Austonia Knight. Inspired by the San Francisco 49ers logo. Here we are. This will be available to all Tier 1 subscribers. This one should have no trouble getting through. But we've also got our hook representing Dead by Daylight, as you've seen in chat. I love to yell hook every time Denise gets either on a hook herself or puts another player.
Which is often
and
not so often
the case. We've got our bonus round representation here. A little beat up old Nintendo cartridge. Probably been blown in a couple times. If anyone had a Nintendo as a kid, you probably did that. You might have really gone wild and run your tongue across the chip.
Are you kidding?
That was a Northeastern.
The actual thing that you bought, that you like went in and like did it.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Us kids in NEPA would just lick the chip.
Lick
the chip, put it in.
What?
That ruined it.
Lick it and put it back in.
I mean, definitely everybody blew into it like until they passed out.
Yeah, no, we were licking chips in NEPA.
Okay.
Well, we've also got our this show is cursed voodoo doll there, which I'm so in love with. He's so adorable. And finally, our ketchup covered popcorn kernel. Wink, wink, nod, nod.
You know what is delicious? Curry popcorn. Had it in Japan. It's amazing.
It is. Ooh,
it is really fantastic.
This is sriracha popcorn.
Sriracha,
which is actually delicious as well.
Yeah, I bet that's really good. So that's our Tier 1 sub emotes. So if you're a Tier 1 sub, if and when those get approved, those will unlock for you, and you'll be able to use them here in the channel and all across of Twitch, as it were. But don't what? Is there more? Is that what you're at? Yes, there is more, yes. Denise.
I was asking that. How did you hear me in my brain?
Because we're so in sync after all these years of talking about horror movies. I get it. Guys, we've got our Tier 2 and Tier 3 sub emotes as well. And these are pretty great because we've got representation for Through the Void with our Void portal there. Their creepy tentacles. In what I am lovingly referring to as a D29 mimic. And those are going to be available to our Tier 2 and Tier 3 subscribers. If you're Tier 3, you get them all. Everything below Tier 3 as well. And there's just a closer look at the Void and at...
So cool.
I can't play favorites, but God, that's so good.
And then,
I love that D20.
Our D20 mimic there. So the happy with those.
Fabulous.
Oh, Matt's the best. I sent him some inspirational art and some inspirational pictures and some thoughts, and he just ripped those out in like a couple of nights and then finished them, and just so happy with the work. And I hope all of you 29ers watching at home get to enjoy those and like those, because you very much deserve them for all the support you guys give, and I hope that makes the experience that much better for you. So thank you for being here, and I hope you like those. But now on to the meat and potatoes. The meat and potatoes. If
meat
my brother-in-law's
and taters.
Watching. Potatoes. Kyle, if you're out there, potatoes. Our ranking system. It's time to fill up some popcorn buckets, guys. It's time to take this film to task. Who would like to go first is the question I have for you. You know what? I'll go first. I never go first. I'm going first tonight.
You do it.
But first, time to put these back on. Because this is serious business. Serious business calls for serious eye protection. So, as we get started here, as I mentioned before, there isn't much of a script here. This felt like someone said, what would be great is if we have Five Nights at Freddy's, but it's not that. It's animatronics come to life at a Chuck E. Cheese and somebody fights them off. And that's it. And really, and honestly, and I say this with every ounce of love that I can for this movie, I get it. I get it. I get it. But I gave the script a 5 because it's really bad. The dialogue is not great. thank God Nicolas Cage didn't have any lines in this movie, because I don't know if they would have done him or it justice, because that's honestly how bad some of the dialogue in this movie was. And just there's like a Emerald Lagasse Bam level of flavoring at the end that gives us a little bit of an idea of why this is all happening. But by that time in the movie, you're already so not invested in anything but the fight scenes in Nicolas Cage's character that it's like, why even have the story? Like, you could have removed, like, it was very obvious to me that those kids were only there for cannon fodder because Nicolas Cage was going to mop the floor with every villain in the movie. And then they killed them all off in the course of like 6 minutes. Like, they were literally there for cannon fodder. And I don't like that. Like, I'm not a fan of that. Like, just leave the girl in there. Make it about the two of them. Like, that, I'd have been fine with that. Put them both in a little more danger. Give Nicolas Cage a little more damage. Don't make him such a god level character. And that's that. So yeah, five on the dot for me. Below average. Not a huge fan, but not the worst movie on the planet in the script department. Denise, what are your thoughts?
You know, it's funny that you say that there wasn't much of a script.
Are you changing your score?
What? Am I changing my score? No, I hadn't given. I like to. I do all my notes and then I'll do my scores as we go along.
Ooh,
fancy! You're fancy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's how I like to do it. Because I also want it to germinate, to marinate. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two different things.
I want it to do both. So I wasn't trying to use one in place of the other. I was saying I want it.
No, I like it. I like it.
I also gave it a 5. Story was okay. I probably would have given it a little more. I might have forgiven it better with better delivery, or forgiven it more with better delivery. It felt like it was still an outline, to be honest, to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I can see that.
We had some moments that explained things, but it really just felt like it was like beat, 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 and that was it. So many of this is one of my notes, so many very strange choices for the stranger's character. Will we ever find out why? You don't.
Nope.
But yeah, it wasn't fleshed out enough for me. Even the explanations felt very shallow. So
yeah, I agree. Glenn, what were your thoughts on this magnum opus of a script?
To Bostonian, is this part of the game? Because I did change a score as Stevie was talking. So do I have to drink, or does everybody have to drink when there's a change of score?
That's a good question.
Anyways.
Please drink responsibly. Channel 29 does not condone binge drinking or drug use in any excess, illegal, or dangerous manner.
No, I was drinking Dr. Pepper, like I said earlier.
Yep, same here, bottled Dr. Pepper.
Mm-hmm. Mine's the lighter version, but that's
yeah,
why
you
it
got
looks
the
like
Diet Dr. Pepper.
Anyway.
Right. Anyway. Okay, everyone has to. Got it. I had it at a 7, but I put it down to a 6 after I heard that TJ said a 5, which I now agree with the 6. Yeah, there isn't much of one. Like, I'm not faulting it. Like, this really isn't. This is weird because I like writing, but saying a horror movie doesn't have to have a script is painful, but also true.
It's so weird.
Let me rephrase that. It's more like there isn't much of a plot here.
Yeah, there was definitely a script. A script existed. Someone wrote it, but the plot was 6 pages long.
Exactly.
And then the rest was just Nick Cage beats up animatronic robot Fluffy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's evil in a Charles cheese, and like Nick Cage cleans up and then fights ? And then like roll credits, burn out in a Camaro. The end.
Yep.
Oh, is that what that was? The Camaro?
Yeah.
Totally was not paying attention to that.
So that's my lowest score. It'll be the lowest score here. And no offense to the writer, like I get it, like clearly it was just, here's what we're doing. It's Nick Cage fighting fucking robots that look weird. It's Chuck E. Cheese. It's not Five Nights at Freddy's. It's, I don't know. I can't make a joke out of it right now, but but that doesn't matter because the rest of it, sans the next topic, is a lot better.
I know once we get through these first 2 rounds, it's all sunshine and rainbows because the movie's really quite good technically.
It is.
But yeah, speaking of old Nick Cage, so I gave this movie a 7 in the acting department, and here's why. Everyone else in the movie deserved a 4. But Nicolas Cage was so fucking good in this movie without saying a word. He raised the points by 3 all on his own. So if Nicolas Cage was the only actor in this movie, the acting would have gotten a 10. Because for someone to carry a movie and put that much dimension into a character without giving us any information on them, kudos to you, Mr. Cage. You're a master of your craft. Hats off.
Polish that Oscar. Yeah. Polish it
with the tears of your enemies.
My light, it's distracting me. I'm just like, my forehead is like a ghost.
Don't go all Chris Bale on us here.
All who?
Christian Bale. Never mind.
Oh, sure.
Denise, if you want to grab the remote, you can go full 32K at the top and hit both of those. It might help.
I don't think it changed. Anyway, carry on. Is it my turn?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
This would have been apropos if we were talking about lighting.
I know. I'm sorry. Sorry to skip ahead. I gave it a 6. Because the kids were so bad. They were so bad. And I get what you're saying, TJ, but what's funny is that there are other movies where
subscription
couldn't forgive something. It's amazing that you're changing your tune on this, like where Nick Cage was so good he was able to elevate everybody else. Not that he wasn't so great for me. That's what I wrote. I wrote in my notes, Nick Cage silent was better than these kids, which is like, what?
Yeah. Thank you for the gift sub, Epic.
Yay! Thank you, Epic.
Thank you, Epic.
It couldn't erase the pain though from those performances. Although I would like to definitely, because Nick Cage was great. Whatever the reasons for his strange choices that we never got to find out, he was there for them. He was committed, and I loved it. But I do want to give a shout out to Beth Grant, who played the sheriff.
Yes.
She had a couple of a little bit bigger than they needed to be moments, but she is so amazing. This woman is known for Little Miss Sunshine, No Country for Old Men, Speed. She's in Speed, Donnie Darko, all these amazing movies, TV shows. And one of the things that has stuck with me, she terrifies me for one episode that she did of Criminal Minds, where she is the creepiest fucking lady. She and her husband run a mortuary, and they are serial kidnappers. And I gotta say, there's this one fucking scene. It was the I want to say it was a season finale early on, and it actually had Ethan. God darn it, what's his name? The AHS
Embry?
Dude? No.
Hunt?
Evan Peters, not Ethan. Evan Peters was in it too. She's so great. She was in A Time to Kill. She was in so many amazing things. And I think she's just a wonderful actress who should be appreciated.
And you can catch
She is.
you can
She
catch
is.
this and more information on Denise's new podcast about criminal minds coming to her Twitch
I
channel.
should fucking do Criminal Minds podcast.
Denise Pantoja, big fan of Criminal Minds.
I love that show so much.
If anyone's ever seen that John Mulaney special where he acts out the last scene of The Fugitive.
I'll work on it, y'all. Anyway.
Glenn, what were your thoughts on the hack?
The acting, 10. All around the board. Oh, wait. Oh, no.
You.
So I actually, like you, TJ, have a convoluted way I got to this score. So I gave it a 7.5. Again, because I always start at this 7 as our baseline, which, like, as we keep going along, I wonder if it should be 6. But whatever.
I mean, technically, it should be 5, I guess, as our baseline, because that's the
but like, fuck math. Like, seriously, fuck math. There's a reason I put like the calculator in our little spreadsheet here, so I don't have to actually.
Thank God for that. Oh, thank God for that.
You're a real gem.
Thanks, Excel / Google Sheets.
Listen, just take the win, buddy.
Anyways, it should be 5. Yeah, so I started at 5, and then I gave it an extra plus, a full +1, because Nick Cage doesn't say anything, and sometimes that can just be just hot garbage. But it's Nick Cage.
He
So
did
like he fully, like, full on full point for like acting without words, which sounds like an exercise in acting school.
And it was.
And it was, and he did it right. But then I took a point away because, like you two said, the kids were not great. They had their moments. But then I gave it an extra half a point because that fucking dance.
No, that's
so worth it.
fair.
So that brings it back to a 7.5, which is above average.
Sure.
So in essence, it's above average because of a dance.
Yeah.
But it was pretty great.
Speaking of things like elevating, I'm tempted to go back and give the script another 0.5 for the name Tex McAdoo. But I'm not
Tex
going to.
McAdoo. Good name. Good
But
name,
it's
Tex
tempting.
McAdoo.
Tex McAdoo.
Oh, and congratulations to Epic Fail on hitting the 150 gift subs mark.
Oh my God.
Epic, you are too much, but thank you so much for all the support.
Woo.
Wow. Cheers.
Wow.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Cheers. I gotta get another
Cheers
beer.
to you,
But before I do, I want to talk about something that was exceptional in this movie, and that is the special effects. And it's tough because there's a lot of things to consider here when talking about the special effects in this movie, because the wardrobe to some extent should get some of this credit, and I give it that credit, but the grease blood and the normal blood and the body getting cut and the decapitations, like, there was a lot of good blood and gore in this movie, but on top of that, the visual effects and the creature effects were all so excellent. I gave it a 9.
Damn.
It was really good in my opinion. And like I said, I will share some of that credit with wardrobe when we get there. But yeah, this did the job for me. I was a fan of what they did with this movie.
Cool.
Denise, what about yourself?
First off, I'd like to say mustaches are indeed itchy, whether they're real or fake.
But much like Nicolas Cage, you're committed to the gag and will wear it through the end of the show. God bless.
Hell yeah, I will. Hell yeah. But I'm just going to keep touching it. I gave it an 8 for special effects. Yeah, a lot of it was good. A lot of it was, there were some spots that were a little, looked a little cheaper, which it wasn't a high budget movie. It was $5 million. So I understand that. It didn't blow my mind though. Like, the cutting in half wasn't super great for me. That because it could be by choice. There were some things, not just that, like some of the blood splatters that were more comic book than realistic, which I think was by choice. So that's okay. But I went with a solid 8 for that.
Solid score. Rock solid. Glenn, what about yourself?
I also gave it an 8. I think the majority of the credit should go to wardrobe, but we can get into that in a second. And we talked about this, like, it's hard in this situation, like, are the costumes of the creatures, is it wardrobe or is it special effects here? And like, to me, it was more wardrobe, because it wasn't, I mean, there's effects, like there was definitely some sort of
there's animatronics in there. It's a hybrid. Every once in a while you will get a team up between departments where everyone needs to work together to make that happen. This was one of those instances where special effects and wardrobe worked hand in hand, I'm sure, to construct those costumes and make them come to life the way that they did.
I maybe unfairly am giving more points to wardrobe here later on. I also appreciated the ample blood and gore, like, which is what this movie needs. Like, it's not plotless, but it's plot light. So like, it's all about your main actor doing what you want him to do, which is fucking kill robots. And then you want everything else to be kind of over the top and ridiculous. Like, you want your lighting and your and shit like that, and like your editing and everything else to be over the top, including your special effects and your wardrobe. So like the levels of gore, which are ridiculous. I shouldn't say gore. It's more blood. It isn't actually gore effects.
Yeah, there's only a couple spots, like I think the decapitation and the body getting cut in half. We're probably the only two real.
And then there was
there was a flashback.
They had a still, the disemboweling.
Right, which I will give them this, and I don't know where I should have put this. I'm gonna put it in special effects. the brief shot when Nicolas Cage kicks that door in, and it like flies off the hinges, like that was done practically. I don't think, like, normally you can tell when something is done CGI, even if it's done really well. Even like on Avengers level, you can tell when it's CGI. I don't think they CGI'd that. I think they did like a really good practical effect. If I was to guess, they got like a really good take, and they didn't expect it to be as good as it did. But I'm going to give it to special effects. Like, normally I would have probably given this a 7.5, but I gave it a little more because I thought everything with what they were doing in their budget was pretty good. I did knock them down because there was a green screen shot on the roof that wasn't great.
Yeah, I agree. That was pretty rough. Yeah.
It was rough, but like, again, like, this wasn't high budget. This is higher budget than I thought it was, but I'll stick by my 8.
Yeah, that was like some shitty half walls that they'd picked up from Home Depot, built around cardboard, and put on a green screen stage.
Well, even when they fell through the roof, the pieces
that was bad.
Were just like foam.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of pieces and foam, production design for this movie was quite an undertaking, I would say, considering you had several locations, but more so you had this insane, made up, looked like it might have been in an old strip club building, warehouse looking space that they had to make look like a children's funhouse. And having spent a substantial amount of time in the Chuck E. Cheese in Dixon City, Pennsylvania, in my youth, later named Zach Periwinkles, I have to say they did a pretty good job. I loved all the character art on the walls. I felt like I was very much immersed in the world that I was supposed to be in. It felt out of time, even though it's a modern movie, because of what little plot line they had in this. It felt like they stuck to that, which I respected. But all in all, I think it all worked well together. I gave production design a 9 as well.
Yeah. Interesting. I gave it an 8.5 because as I sat and thought about it, it was actually a little more limited than I first thought it would be. You have that one crazy fairy garden, right? That was good. Um, Super kudos to whoever designed the characters, which in turn informed the designing of the wardrobe and then those posters on the wall. Those were great. The posters were great. But other than that, you've got the main room that's got tables and chairs, that one hallway, and then that other room, that special room that they took people to, which honestly looks like they ran out of money on that end. You know what I mean? Like it was just like a bunch of like inflatable stuff there and then a table. Like that was supposed to be the special room, and that looked worse than any other room. Like maybe they, sorry, I'm eating my mustache. Maybe they, excuse me. Maybe they blew their wad on the fairy room. So that room to me was a little disappointing. So that brought it down for me a little bit. But I did give a lot of kudos to the design and the implementation of the character posters.
Very nice. So. Glenn, what were your thoughts on the art here for the film?
Yeah, I gave it an 8, so apparently the lowest score. Yeah, it was a little more limited than I thought it was going to be. That's not to take away from what anybody did on the crew or anything. I thought the sets were pretty effective. I think the thing that really stuck out to me the most was going from fucked up strip club / Charles Cheese to clean. Like that sucks for production design.
Yeah.
Sucks. Like, I mean, I know they did it backwards. Like you start with clean and then you fuck it up later and you shoot out of order.
Right.
Yeah, then you demolish that building that you bought afterwards.
Which is what I thought too, though. But then in a lot of the, there had to be a combination of the two. Sorry to interrupt you, Glenn.
No,
it just reminded me when he was cleaning, he's actually cleaning and it is getting more faded. So there was a point where, yeah, obviously you can get the end result there first before you start messing it up. But there is some back and forth to be dealt with.
Oh, for sure. I mean, honestly, and this might not be fair, but whatever. Like, I probably would have given it like a 7 if they wouldn't have had the cleaning, which maybe isn't fair, but.
I probably should go down a little bit, but
I'm sticking to my 9 because I think that having to fuck a place up and then make it look clean, or having to make a place look clean and then fuck it up is a pretty hard thing to do and keep it consistent. And I think too,
I've been on those shoots. Fuck that.
Yeah, for real, But yeah, so I'm gonna stick to my 9. If y'all want to adjust, feel free to do so now.
No, I'll stay. No, I'm sorry, Glenn. Were you finished, Glenn?
I was.
Because I interrupted you. Okay, great.
No, you actually came in when I was actually done.
Perfect timing. Classic Denise move.
I know. I'm the worst. I'll see myself out.
Get out.
Me and my mustache.
But you know what was not the worst is wardrobe. And let me tell you why. Because the wardrobe in this movie was fine for everyone else. It was okay. They all looked like they were doing what they were doing. Sheriff looked like she was the sheriff. Tex looked like he was from Texas. Everything made sense, but where the movie really shined is, one, in the copious amounts of Willy's Wonderland t-shirts that Nick Cage burns through in this movie. So kudos to wardrobe on making a great shirt. Mm-hmm. But also the villain costumes, our monsters. Like I said earlier, a marriage between practical effects and wardrobe come to life. Because when you can't afford to build a 8-foot fully animatronic weasel, you put a human in it and you build the head. And I think that was executed beautifully. Was it perfect? No, it wasn't. It was very obvious that they spent way more money on some costumes than others. The the fairy had no costume at all. It was just a head. You know, so I mean, like, clearly cutting corners there, but I was so it's tough. It's tough. I gave it a 9. Because I really think that all of the monsters were unique, even though some were clearly better than others. I think they all had a unique look and a unique feel and unique stuff to do that made their costume make sense. Like they weren't just like scary costumes. They were practical. You know, the weasel had claws, the gator had teeth, like, you know, the knight had a sword. Like, you know, everyone was rocking, which would be props, but everyone was rocking like this great theme for their characters. And I thought it was executed beautifully. But what about you, Denise? What were your thoughts?
Sure. I would agree with a lot of what you're saying. I gave it an 8.5. You know, I think that they, you know, they weren't incredibly polished and like super like, oh my gosh, he's so like Chuck E. Cheese is adorable and you love him. And they did a great job of making them look sinister enough to be like, ew, fuck that fairy. Fuck her right in her stupid head. Because, oh my God, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, when she was all Jaws, that shit was scary.
By the way, they hired an actual ballerina to be that character. So
Smart.
that kind
Smart move.
led to her character. So I give it props there for the for lack of a better term, the furry costumes. You know, I think they were good and they were very unique. They were a little bit, they didn't mesh together as well as they could have. You know what I mean? Like there was some random knight who looked way different than the others, and then that
it was like the local high school football team was.
That's exactly what I thought.
And that's where that was like the director's high school football mascot. So he stuffed him in there or something like.
Yeah, and then the gecko was like so much weirder and creepier than the others. It just didn't flow as well as it could have. That could have been something that they did on purpose, but that kind of bugged me a little bit. The teenagers' clothing, whatever, fine. I thought that they tried a little too hard to make the bubblegum chewing girl the slutty character. But okay.
I hated that character so much. The acting was so bad. Oh my God. Yeah. That character was a terrible, shitty character.
Yeah.
And that weird costume
wasn't
was
great.
Just not doing it.
And then the sheriff and then the highway patrolman, their costumes actually bothered me a little bit because I think it was a combination of two things. I think one, they were ill-fitting. And two, they looked too new. They did not look well worn. They didn't look, or at least if it's going to look, you know what I mean, nice and pressed and you're looking good, or you've been wearing this all day. It looked, they didn't look lived in enough and like they didn't fit. So that was a little bothersome to me. Because it is very important when you're doing a movie or a show to make sure that you are representing the life of the wardrobe, which informs the life of the character. You know, if you've got somebody who looks like they literally just took something out of the package, you're going to be able to sell that less as a legitimate sheriff or a legitimate highway patrol person.
Rookie move when you go to the Spirit costume store and buy your cop outfit and don't steam it before you put it on the actor.
Yeah. You don't want to see the creases. And not that I'm saying that the wardrobe department was rookie or anything, but that one bit bothered me a little bit, especially ill-fitting things, because it does, I know sometimes that doesn't work out. God, I know that. But you have to like do the workarounds in order to make it seem more believable. And that's just a little thing for me. Sometimes people have little things.
A little message from the wardrobe department. Glenn, what did you think of the wardrobe?
I gave it a 9, like I alluded to earlier. Like I'm giving more the credit for the creatures, for lack of a better term, to the wardrobe. because they were less like animatronic, clearly like they were people in suits. Which I guess I don't whatever. There was some animatronics in some of the heads on it.
Yeah.
I think some of it wasn't.
Do you think
like
some was
I
like
think
physical puppeteering?
no, I think some of it. I think all of them had blinking eyes if they blinked, but I think a lot of them had eyes that like CGI
Well,
went
the
over.
fairy for sure had CGI eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, those people were CG.
I also think the fairy had CGI mouth for most of it when she turned into Jaws.
I bet they had two heads. The clean head
probably.
and the Jaws head.
Yeah.
But I think that any time you were seeing her move was 100% CG. Like those were two paper mache heads.
She could suck it either way, whatever head she's got on.
Hey, I agree. Like it did really well. Like I'm not shitting on the CGI of the eyes or the mouth, in my opinion, if it was the mouth or whatever. Yeah, everybody else's costume didn't really stick out to me. Like I kind of want to go look again at the cops' costumes to see what you're speaking of, and I'm sure you're right. But it didn't that's wrong to me.
Yeah, and
but I'm sure it was. I'm
guessing
sure it was.
That's what bugged me because I didn't think about exactly what it was until later. So.
Well, sure. I mean, that's also like wardrobe is also one of the areas that I'm not the most observant, unless it's like super blatant. Like, and obviously that's why you're a very good counter to me at least. It's like wardrobe's not a thing that is super like what's going on here in my head. But anyways, I give it a 9, which I think might be the highest I've ever given to wardrobe.
Wow.
Yeah. God, Denise, though, brought up some very good points. I don't change scores often.
Ooh.
I don't change scores often, but I think I'm going to drop that half a point.
Dun, dun,
that
dun.
means you owe a drink, I think.
I gotta go get one. I'll have to have it be an IOU. But I promise I'll have several more beers after we get off the air.
It's not for me. I believe these are the rules.
I agree. So something that was, I thought, done pretty well here in the movie was music.
Yes.
Overall, it was good. It was there. It felt like it fit the movie. It had a couple classic tracks that I can't believe they got the rights for. Seemed like Georgia had something to do with that a little bit, so kudos to them. But I gave it an 8.5, and I'll say this: it would have been a 7, but the theme song, I'm such a fan of that old like 80s and 90s trope of making a song about the movie and putting it in the movie. I think it's great. Like Dokken doing Dream Warriors, like that's great for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, 8.5 on the music scale. Denise, what were your thoughts?
I would say almost exactly the same. Yeah, I thought that was a nice touch at the very end to have that theme song be speaking of what actually happened in the movie. I thought that the kids' songs in the movie were very fitting. The others, the one at the very end, what did they play?
Freebird,
excuse me. That one actually felt a little out of place for me. It didn't like hit me and be like, yeah, this is perfect. It just felt a little gratuitous, like, oh, we got this, like, great, let's stick it in there. But I gave it an 8.5. The one that played on loop where it's your birthday, like, those things, like, I thought they were done very well. So 8.5.
Glenn?
I gave it an 8, and that's purely for its original songs. I thought the beginning, the like kind of cool rock song at the opening credits, rock-ish song, and then like the jazzy electronic, sometimes ominous music throughout the background music was good. The original like lyrical songs that like are, I guess, diegetic in the show. For some of the time are. I thought were really good. Were pretty good. Not to alienate people, and not a huge fan of Freebird. I think it worked well in one movie, but not the 800 others that it's in.
And clearly you're speaking of Freebird, the Leonard Skinner documentary.
Oh, yeah. It worked there for some reason. Devil's Rejects. I thought it worked well in Devil's Rejects. Also, they played it in its entirety, which is fucking bold. But
yeah, like a fucking 7-minute song or
it's
something.
like an 8-minute song or some shit.
It's a long take.
But for some reason, I thought it fit there. Where I agree with Denise, I'm not sure it totally fit here. It wasn't out of place. It wasn't like they're like, "Hit me, baby, one more time" at the end of the song or this movie, and you're just like, "What?"
Although I feel like that might have fit better.
Honestly,
there's I think it's
they couldn't afford that though.
I think it's "Hit Me Baby One More Time," but I want to say Ahmed and Dweedle Zappa did a cover of that for "Ready to Rumble." That's like very like dirty, like rock, like and it's awesome. That version at the end of this movie would have ticked that up another half a point for me. You know, I like it when movies take a song and put a spin on it and do something different with it.
Yeah.
You know? I think that's original, and I'm a big fan when that happens. We did not get it this time, but what we did get is some pretty good sound design. Yeah. There was a lot going on here. There was a ton going on here. I loved how they did the character voices, with that kind of like otherworldly through a voice box thing, but still understand. Like, I gave it a 7.5. Like, I don't have any complaints. Nothing really jumped out at me that it was super awesome, but it was good. Like, I liked it. I was into it. I dug it. It was fine. It was great for me to give it a 7.5. Denise, what about you?
Agree wholeheartedly. 7.5 when they like slowed things down too. That was great. But yeah, nothing really like struck me, and nothing upset me. So 7.5 for me.
Wow. Okay. And I want a full point more than you guys. A lot of the time, maybe it's because I spend most of my time in older horror movies, is that like sound is kind of an afterthought. Where here, like there was a lot of it, and like they get a really good job of trying to, or I thought they did a really good job of trying to give you sounds to everything that's happening, especially in the close-ups and the slow-mo. Like especially in the cleaning they had, it wasn't just like one sound. Like it was like they had different sounds, and it matched the
textures.
Like the textures and the rhythm that he was doing, like exactly.
That's a good point.
It reminded me a lot of a movie that I don't want to recommend to everyone because it's so hard to watch. But it's one of my favorites, Requiem for a Dream.
Oh, yeah.
But with that movie, the sound there was over-exaggerated and stylized to make a point. But, like, it was, like, that movie would get a 10 on the scale for me just because it was so ridiculous and, like, was there for a point. I thought this was really well done. Like there's a lot of really good sound, and it's not just like canned sound they got from a library. I don't think.
Yeah.
Like, I think they did a fair amount of work on it. So I gave it an 8.5.
That's great.
So.
So this movie obviously felt very frenetic, very kinetic, very lot of movement in this movie. A lot going on with the camera, different like crazy lens effects, like stuff that felt like it was practically done in camera, which I really liked. I gave camera and lighting a 9. I thought it looked like a big budget movie. They clearly put the work in. Whoever the DP gaffer team was on this put the work in, and it was lit very well. It felt like the lighting in the movie was a character in the movie, especially in regards to the animatronic characters. So, you know, anytime you can bring that kind of finesse to a horror movie you're going to get respect from me. And this one did. I liked it. I gave it a 9.
Good. I gave it an 8.5. There were a lot of really cool shots. It got really artsy. So then maybe there were too many cool shots for me personally. Because there were a couple of cool shots that just came and went and you never saw again, and there wasn't really a reason for it. So I didn't love that. It felt like the kitchen sink to me. We could have pulled back a little bit on that because there were some really, really great shots, and I loved, the viewpoint from like the surface he's cleaning. I loved, the sunglasses shot that TJ was saying. Glenn's probably loving this right now. The confetti shot I loved. And I think that there were so many cool, but for me, less was more for this one. I feel like we could have done without a few.
Sorry, were you finished?
I'm done.
If anybody's playing along, take a drink because I just fucking changed it. Yeah, so I had it an 8, and then I just bumped it up to an 8.5. I just realized what I think my thesis for my review of this is. Like, this movie to me is a style over substance movie, which is not a negative. It's not, because that's clearly what they were trying to do. And I think they did it pretty well. Like, they threw almost everything at the book that you could, like Dutch angles and super wide shots, like extreme close-ups, and like they even went into the realm where I normally don't like it, where like things in the film hit the camera, which I normally don't like. Sometimes it works. 28 Days Later, for example, when like the blood hits the lens because it's supposed to be like a doc.
Right.
Normally I don't like it too much, but like, and they didn't do it too often, so thankfully for that. Again, I'm a sucker for anamorphic movies, which this clearly was shot on. In your like super wide, when if you're looking at something horizontal and the lines like bend up, that's like a clear sign they've shot an anamorphic. Lens flares, which I'm not always in love with, but I like to hear. Honestly, I gave it the extra 0.5 because, and this sounds disparaging in a way, like I don't think if they would have gone so like balls to the wall with the style, I think it might have been a little draggy in parts, which is crazy because there isn't a lot of not anything happening.
Right.
So I gave it a higher score there at an 8.5.
I'm going to go right into editing on this because I think that the camera work and the editing here really worked hand in hand. And the reason that they both got 9s for me, because I did give editing a 9, was because it did feel very intentional. And Glenn, I think you hit the nail square on the head that it had to be. Like, it had to be this insane, because the movie itself is an insane concept with not a lot of foundation for it to stand on. So when you're doing that, when there's no dialogue in a movie for fucking 40-50% of it, what else are you gonna do? Like, you have to make it visually compelling and interesting to keep people in their chair, and I think they did that well. I think the editing was insane. Like, I am not a fan of quick cut fight choreography. I fucking hate it. There are so many talented stuntmen out there who do insane, amazing fight choreography that there should never be a reason to not see the work that these insanely talented people put into their art. But when you're talking about Nicolas Cage fighting an animatronic robot, there's not a lot of movement. The Willy didn't have a lot of elbow movement. He was like swatting like this. Like, a lot of those characters didn't they were in very restrictive costumes. So you had to get creative and you had to make these fights look exciting because it's the what is that? What's that movie that TV show that everybody loves? Big Bang Theory. Like, did you ever watch the Big Bang Theory episodes on YouTube where they remove the laugh track and it's just dead? That's what this movie would have been to me if not for all that frenetic energy that the editing and the camera work was putting into it. If you took all that out, you're talking 90 minutes of Nicolas Cage silently walking around a building, getting slowly attacked by 1970s level Godzilla kaiju monster costumes. You know, but I gave the editing a 9, and I'm usually pretty critical on editing, but I think it did what it needed to do to make the movie go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I gave it an 8.5. I thought it was good, energetic. It did keep the pace really well. You make really good points, T. I'm going to stick with my 8.5.
8.5 is a very strong score.
And it's
Not bad.
It's only a 1.5 away from perfect.
It's true.
Glenn, what about you, man?
I also gave it an 8.5. It could have been higher, but I'm going to leave it where it is. They did well with the montages, which I don't normally see fucked up in movies. Usually montages are done really well. But I agree. Unfortunately, here recently, I don't know, in the last 15-ish years, fight scenes are just you can't watch them. You don't know what the fuck's going on. One of the worst examples, I'll call it whatever, Quantum of Solace. You can't understand what the fuck is happening in that movie.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because it's
Resident Evil 2.
After everything they did right in Resident Evil 1 to go to that garbage quick cutty fight concept. Oh, fuck, I hated that part.
It's crazy. Both of those movies had a lot of this.
Oh, yeah.
And they shot it. And they were just
yeah,
we're going to cut it out.
It's disorienting.
It is.
Yeah, there's no spatial awareness when you can't be in the room with the fight. You are 100% a spectator.
This movie did have quick cuts, but you could tell what the fuck was happening. It was really actually well done editing. It probably made it better because I can't imagine they allowed Nick to go full on insane on their costumes because they couldn't afford to make another costume that he was beating the shit out of.
Yeah.
They had to have picked shots and frames very well. I think that took really great editing to do that.
Yeah.
The other thing that stuck out to me was there was a scene where it was doing the strobe light thing where it was and it did the classic Hollywood, but horror movie thing where it strobes and the thing that's getting closer to you has moved positions.
Oh yeah.
It's not really hard to do that in editing, but you don't see it very often. Done well, and I thought it was actually done pretty well. So 8.5.
Well, we've come to the end of our journey once again here. I guess the penultimate journey before we get to our totals. But this is one of my favorite parts of the night, and I know it's a big part of y'all's night. But enjoyability. This is where we get to really dig into how much we personally liked the movie, and I guess what do we recommend the movie. I gave this movie a 7 on enjoyability, which is a bit lower than you usually see me pull because I'm usually very critical on the technical stuff and very high on the enjoyability, and I'll explain why. I thought this movie was really fun. I really did enjoy it. It was going to be an 8. But then we started prepping for the show, and I started thinking about it more, and we started talking about it more. And the more I talked about it, the more I realized that I spent $14.99 to buy a movie I'm never going to watch again.
You bought it.
Yeah, I want to support, so I bought the movie.
That's fair.
But that's a big deal to me. Rewatchability is a major part of this because oftentimes when you're talking about the horror genre, you are talking about that rewatch experience. I mean, everything we've covered on this show to date other than this movie, was things we've seen dozens, if not more times over the course of our life. That's why those movies get 9, 10 enjoyability scores from me, because if I can go back and watch it at any time and enjoy it again, it's going up high. This was a one and done for me. Like I said, go watch it. I highly recommend it. Rent it. Go watch it. And, you know, have some drinks, have some fun, and you know, and enjoy it for what it is. It's a wild, fun, popcorn, weird, artsy acid trip of a Nicolas Cage movie. And I do recommend it, but I don't think you'll watch it more than once. Denise?
I agree wholeheartedly. I gave it a 7 because, yeah, I don't know that I would want to go back and watch it again. I mean, I had high hopes for it, and I thought it would be one of those that would be a long-lasting part of my horror library. But yeah, I don't think that I'll ever be like, ooh, let's watch Willy's Wonderland.
Yeah.
Because of all the other, like, because of the outline script, the kids acting, the cannon fodder, like you talked about. It was good. Like you said, I enjoyed the first watch. It's cool. What I love about doing this, especially with horror movies, like I said, I think we told that story, that Hollywood Video story. Did we tell that on our first episode?
I'm sure we've told it, but feel free. There might be someone new watching that doesn't know it.
So when TJ and I lived in Pennsylvania and Hollywood Video was still open, years and years and years and years and years ago, we decided we were going to do a horror section watch through. So we literally went from A to Z, and they had a good, healthy horror section, a lot of indie films. So we went end to end, and we were like, this is sort of where a podcast idea kind of gave birth to it, like 15 years ago, when we were like, let's look at these movies and appreciate them for what they are. A, they got made. B, they got distributed. Fuck yeah to both of those things.
Yeah.
You fucking sell a movie, you get it made, you get it distributed, you have won. That is amazing. And nobody can take that away from you, no matter whether it's received well or not. And, you know, all of these are very subjective personal opinions with what we're talking about here. But what I wanted to do was take a look at each of these individual movies and say, okay, well, that didn't work. Okay, the lighting was terrible. The sound was terrible. But what worked about this movie? What can we appreciate about this movie beyond the fact that it got made? So there are so many things that I can appreciate about this movie as a horror movie fan and as a filmmaker, because I feel like you can learn something from everything that you watch. You know, there are some things that I'll take with me, but I don't think that I would go back to revisit it. I don't think it's going to be one of those playing in the background while I'm cleaning movies. So that's why it was a 7 for me. It did get an extra point for inventive kills, though. I really appreciated that.
Yeah. I'll say this too, that Hollywood Video watch through, those were spine out, not cover out on the shelf.
Damn.
If anyone remembers video stores, that was not cover out. That was spine out. So they were stacked like the Xbox games you got in your TV cabinet. It's a lot of horror we went through that.
They had a lot.
Oh, Geekish coming in. Hello, Mikey. Hello, Geekish Network.
Hello, Geekish Network.
Thank you for the raid.
Welcome.
I swear I have a raid widget, and I don't know why it doesn't play. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
But thank you for the raid. Welcome, everybody.
Yeah, welcome.
Show them some love there, 29ers. Unfortunately, we're just here at the end of our show. But Glenn, tell us about how you enjoyed the movie.
I gave it a 7.5.
Subscription!
I think probably I gave it extra half a point because of Nick's just fighting style and like craziness that he went on, and like his kills, which like in reality is that this movie was really all about. It's about the kills.
Yeah.
I agree with you on the watchability again. Like I probably will watch it 1 or 2 more times. I might watch it again more recently. or whatever closer in the future, just to like give it like a fair shake, which I try to do for everything, unless I like absolutely hate something.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a high score, but it is something that I highly recommend everybody sees at least once. Like it's very good in that sense, but like there's other score or areas where it's just like I don't know about that.
You know, I like Nicolas Cage is such an anomaly to me in regards of his acting, because his career spans such a bananas gamut of movies. And most recently in the last few years, he's been knocking these genre pieces out. And dude, I don't rent. I bought Mandy. I still haven't seen it. Bought it without seeing it. Color Out of Space. Bought it without seeing it. Same with this one, because there's something about Nicolas Cage's ability to either come off just batshit crazy enough that you want to watch just to see what he's going to do next, or his performances are so insane. Like Color Out of Space is like, man, if you haven't seen that movie is fucking twisted. But it's also a fantastic and subtle and amazing performance from Nicolas Cage. And that's the thing. Like, you roll the dice, and sometimes you get a Willy's Wonderland, and sometimes you get Color Out of Space, and it's worth the gamble because they both pay off in their own ways. So my total score on this was did we just go through we didn't go through total scores, right? I'm not just
no.
Great. So my total score
not total. I'm sorry.
Was a 79.5, just about full, only a few short kernels away from a full popcorn bucket. I really liked it. I thought it was really good. My only qualms were the acting and the script, but everyone else crushed it.
That's
But that should speak volumes to what the rest of how important every single member on that team is. Everyone from I say it all the time when I'm producing. Every single person on that set, from the PAs to the producers, is there for a reason. They're all equally important.
Yep.
And without every single one of them, the movie doesn't get made. So 79.5, but the crew and post did a lot of lifting on this one.
Yes.
And Nicolas Cage's tour de force silent performance.
Wait, holy crap.
D, what'd you give it?
I gave it a 76. That's what mine came out to. I think I might be the lowest here, but like I said, it was an enjoyable little popcorn flick that I probably wouldn't revisit. But you are 100% right about how important everything is, and how it's amazing that excellence in one area can help cover others, but it still affects the overall enjoyability.
Yeah. Real talk.
With my changes, you and I are at the exact same score, TJ.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Is that our first tie?
I think so.
What?
At a 79.5. That was not intentional of a tie, but yeah, I'll probably give it another shake. Like, I try to give everything 2 washes at least.
Fair enough.
Again, there's exceptions to that rule, which are all made by me. Yeah, it's something that I thoroughly enjoyed watching once. Probably not one I'll visit again, other than like my 2 shake rule.
2 shake rule.
Yeah, I realized the joke I made there. Yeah.
Oh, glad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to say beyond that, other than like there are technical aspects that are really good about this, and there's other technical aspects that are not. But they aren't the worst. Definitely not the worst. Yeah, definitely watch it at least once. It's a good romp the first time, but rewatchability not there.
Not super great. And there we are. We did it. Another Friday night in the can. Another movie reel has come to its end on the silver screen of our lives. Willy's Wonderland, I think overall very well received by this terrible trio of horror aficionados. Yeah, any closing thoughts for either of you on Willy's Wonderland before we get into our little wrap up here?
No, I think I personally said what I wanted to say, but I did want to go over, for those who are new to the channel, I did want to go over what it is we do in the show once you guys give any final thoughts, just so we can, let everybody know what to expect next week.
Very good. Glenn, did you have any thoughts you wanted to comment on before we wrap things up here on the movie?
Not outside of what I really kind of just said with my enjoyability. Not really. It's a good one watch. Definitely don't skip it, but yeah, don't skip it.
I think that sums it up. All in all, a good time was had by all of us. We highly recommend you go check out Willy's Wonderland, starring Nicolas Cage. Go check that out. But before we go, Denise, you said you wanted to tell our new friends in chat about the show.
Yes, if this is your first time joining us, welcome to Channel 29, and this is our show, Blood and Popcorn. It was I told a story a little earlier, so if you can, just so I don't bore everybody else who's already heard it a million times, if you want to check out this particular VOD, once we get it up, it tells how it started, like this horror movie podcast. It had little seeds that started about 10-15 years ago, and then several years ago we started to talk about what we wanted to do for a horror podcast. We're best friends for several years and all huge fans of horror movies, so we've tried many iterations of how we wanted to talk about it and discuss it, and what we've landed on here at Blood and Popcorn is we decided to watch movies that were chosen by each host. Every week a different host picks, and then this week, on the last week, our first show was a bit of an anomaly. We did it based around St. Patrick's Day. We did a leprechaun marathon. So that first one's 4 hours long. But for the fourth one, we decided it's going to be something that none of us have ever seen, which is very exciting for those who have seen a million horror movies like us. And we take 10 categories and we give them ratings from 1 to 10. All very subjective, personal thoughts. We talk about script, we talk about acting, we talk about special effects, which can be practical and visual effects all put into one, because we're also entertainment people. So we want to be able to talk about things in a way that everybody can talk about, and we're not going to get too granular about the industry because not everybody who watches is in the industry. We've got production design, wardrobe. Production design will include set design as well as props. If you're familiar, we have wardrobe, music, sound design, camera and lighting together, editing, and then overall enjoyability, because we've discovered that there are certain things which will get very high marks in particular, such as this movie got a lot of high marks in very technical aspects, but overall enjoyability for one reason or another had dropped. Or there's a bunch of our old favorites which are not very technically sound, but the enjoyability is through the roof.
Right.
Yeah,
so
and
that's all it is. Just some nerds.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that description, Denise. And if you are new to the channel, if you haven't followed the channel yet and you like what you see here, please do follow the channel. Any type of subscription or bits stuff is never expected, but always appreciated. But yeah, if you can give us a follow below, right below here in the About section is the social information that you can follow us on the socials, on the internets, because we have a lot going on here in Channel 29. In fact, Monday night we'll have our Monster of the Week live tabletop role-playing game Through the Void. It's our keeper Alex Gaston, Melody, Denise, Shelby, and myself. We play a group of monsters, fighting monsters. Fantastic. Denise has a Dead by Daylight stream on Wednesday nights at 7:30 Eastern, and that's Dead by Daylight with our very own Denise Pantoja. Most Thursday nights, sometimes Tuesday nights, sometimes Sundays is Bonus Round. That's our When We Want, How We Want, What We Want video game show. Thank you, Austonian Knight. Oh, an epic fail coming in with another round, pushing the limits. Oh, we're so close to a hype train.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if we've ever had a hype train on this channel before. I don't know what one more person needs
I
to
don't
sub,
understand hype
gift, or
trains.
use bits. I still don't understand them. But we do have every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern is our show, Blood and Popcorn here. Me, Denise, and Glenn talking about horror movies. And tomorrow night, back from our little hiatus, is our this show is cursed. Myself and Davis Saunders are cursed to talk about all things TTRPG and the like. And that's our show.
Nice.
Going out on a fun high note. God, I really want to see what the hype train thing does. I don't know. Can you do it? I wonder if I can do anything. I cannot.
Subscription!
Yo, what's up, Ergoth? Ergoth there in chat is our friend
What's up,
Davis.
dude? Oh no, here it goes.
And there it is.
Oh, epic.
Epic has gifted yet another
So
sub.
nice.
So how does it work?
I don't know. I don't know what's supposed to happen now.
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't.
Somebody
I don't know.
explain to me hype train. It says
What
a
does
hype
it
train is
do?
close, but they did it. Epic did it.
Yeah, so do it. Give the people what they deserve. Give them what they need. Or
I don't
don't.
know.
Either
Or
way.
don't.
Either way is fine. Either way is fine by
Come on,
me.
Twitch.
Maybe if you say it enough in chat, like you're clapping your hands like Tinkerbell. Davis, that might be it. That might be the hype train. We're looking at it. That's going on right now. Yeah, I think we're on it. We're on the hype train. But anyway, thank you all for being here on another Friday night, spending your Friday night with us. We very much do appreciate it. We appreciate all of you. Glenn, Denise, thank you again for another wonderful episode of Blood and Popcorn. And hang out. We're going to go raid our buddy Brandon Cutler, who's playing some Rocket League with his friend Marco Stunt from AEW. So pop in there, say hello to Brandon. And until we see you again, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and, stay scared.
Where can they find you personally, TJ, on the socials?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Let's do that. Hold on. I'll put it right in chat.
Okay.
Boom.
Boom.
Because there's nothing like closing the show out twice. Am I right? Ba-doom.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I thought you're personal, not us. Okay, whatever. Anyway.
All good.
Good
All
night.
good. Yeah, but if you do want to follow any of us on the socials, you can find Denise Pantoja. Oh, I put that in wrong.
Oh, God. It's
Here
fine. Just carry on. Just carry
on
on.
those places.
You're good.
You can find Glenn Akers at those places. And until we meet again, we'll meet then. We'll meet up at the old Moon Tower, at the old haunted house, at the old barnyard.
Ooh, haunted house. God,
hanging out at
haunted
the
house.
old stomping grounds.
So
the
bad.
old fun house.
Oh,
Good night.
haunted house.